I have made a lot of Lego Beyblades over the past almost 4 years at this point. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, some of them were this. But the question is, which one is the best? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today with what I believe is my top 10 best Lego Beyblades. I only had 2 rules for this list, and the first one was that it was based on performance only, not necessarily design. And the second rule is that I had to come up with a large variety of different types of base, so a lot of attack, defense, stamina, balance, everything. So with that, let's get straight into our number 10 pick. So in number 10, this may come as a shock to you, but I'm going to be putting Kingdom Kirbius 1D defense this low. Why is that? Well, it's because of consistency. In its stock combo, Kingdom Kirbius is a pretty solid Beyblade, being very heavy and having good defense. However, the tip defense ironically doesn't have much defense. Since the tip is pretty thin, when it leans over, it scrapes really hard on this outer ring, causing same and opposite spin to be very questionable at best. By switching up the combo, you can, of course, make it better, but we're not looking at different combos, we are looking at the stock combos that were presented to us in the reviews. So yeah, not a bad Beyblade. I think it deserves number 10 spot, but just in terms of consistency, it's a little weird. In our number 9 spot, we have Forge Fafmir 1S Rise Spring. I did finally decide to name this Rise Spring or Rise Plus or whatever. It's not Kick, it's too small for that. But of course a Fafmir would make it on this list, but why only a number 9? Well, with most Fafmirs, same spin performance is usually not that great, and this is no exception to that. Against other left spin opponents, this Beyblade doesn't have that great of stamina, and even in opposite spin, while it does work and you can get a lot of really crazy wins, Rise is a little weird. Sometimes it can have really solid life after death and beat some crazy Beyblades, while other times it tends to tip over because of how top heavy this combo is. Nevertheless, if you weak launch this thing, chances are you're basically getting an instant win, but it's not the best equalizer I've made, and believe me, we will get to that. Our next place is also an equalizer, I promise, this is the last one for a while. We have Hyper Helios Dash 4B Nova, which is a newer bay of mine. I would say that these two could be interchanged because they're very similar, being equalizers with pretty bad same spin performance, but this is still a pretty heavy tanky Beyblade and can compete with a lot of pretty good top attackers. That's another thing about this list. A Beyblade that's at the top of the list does have a chance to lose to a Beyblade that's lower, so it's kind of all over the place. That's what makes this system a lot of fun for me. But yeah, you can switch this around with Fafmir if you want. This thing also does have kind of meh burst resistance, but it's still not too bad. Moving in at number 7, this Beyblade is kind of me being biased because I just really wanted to put this bay on this list, but I just love using Spectral Phantom 1D-Bite. It is such a fun bay to use. What makes this Beyblade so fun is that it does require quite a bit of skill to learn how to use this thing properly. This is a counter defense Beyblade, which means that not only can it tank other attacks, but it can also give back its own hits with these studs here. And if you can launch this thing correctly, it can beat some crazy stuff. However, because of that skill barrier and the fact that it's not that heavy, the chassis is one of the lighter ones that I've made, it is still fairly low, but still just such a fun bay to use. I highly recommend building this guy or something similar to it. Moving on at number 6, I bet a lot of you guys expected this, especially if you're OGs of the channel, but we have Blaze Taurus 1D Ball. There isn't really anything too special about this guy, it's just a really heavy tanky defense type. The weight is in the upper 31s, low 32s, which is a really solid weight for a Lego Beyblade, especially in my system. It's super heavy because of these horns right here, however these can also act as a weak point to the bay. Since they're made of a rubbery material, when they get hit it does kind of deplete the bay's stamina. And the ball tip doesn't have the greatest of defense, albeit it is a defense tip, but since it's on a super heavy setup, it doesn't really drag this thing down. I do like how this thing has this weak point though, because if it didn't, let's be honest, this thing would probably be number 1 on the list. Our next bay on the list will be one that's also kind of surprising. We have my Lego Wizard Arrow. This is the only X bay on the list, and of course the combo is 480 on ball. Now what's so special about this Wizard Arrow? Well, it does the job of the last 2 Beyblades basically in one. It has really good stamina, it has really good defense, the weight is solid, and it can even counterattack with the arrows on the blade and the studs on the ratchet. Ball is really great because even though it's on a tall height ratchet, since it's such a wide tip, it doesn't really have balancing issues. Honestly, I was kind of surprised when I tested this thing out and found out that it was actually a really solid stamina type. If I had to recommend building one of my Beyblade X Beys, I think this would be it. Now for our number 4 spot, this is another one you could interchange with number 3, it depends on your preference. But number 4 is the boy. This is Cyber Exo 1A Excel, and I'm pretty sure you guys already know. This thing has explosive attack power with these blades right here. It's not really the gappy part of it, but the end of it right here that makes the most contact. I've had so many of these green 1x2 tiles dented because of this guy. It's such a sharp, recoily impact point, and it sends Beys flying, although sometimes it can send itself flying, which is a drawback. This Beyblade features the 1A chassis, which is just okay for attack, although it does pair up nicely with the blade. But Excel is a pretty good attack tip, having good control and good stamina. So yeah, like I said, this guy is a beast of an attacker, but it is a little bit scary to use sometimes. What if we had an attacker that was similar to it, but had a bit more of its own flavor? Well, we have Steam Exo, of course, which is the evolution to it. So this Beyblade is slightly heavier, it has a more controlled blade shape, which the attack isn't really hindered by it, it's perfectly fine. Except the tip is Assault, which is, you can do this with it, first of all, but with Assault you get a nice mix of aggressive movements and decent control. And in my opinion, this is the best attack tip in the game. In most ways, it is an upgrade to Cyber Exo, although it does come down to preference. You want to be able to control your movements and absolutely destroy your opponent when coming into contact? Or do you want something with a bit more consistency, but a bit more movement to it? That's why I say these two are interchangeable, but in my opinion, Steam Exo is slightly better. So for our number 2 spot, oh my god. I hate this Beyblade. Serge Anonubis 1S Ray. Okay, so the chip isn't anything special. The chassis is super light. The tip is actually, Ray is pretty good because you can do that. But this Beyblade is crazy for spin steel, even after nerfing it. Take a look at the blade. That's how good the burst resistance is. It breaks my freaking 1S. If we take a look at the bottom of the blade, it has a 3-stud connection to the chassis, when most of my Beys have 4. I did this specifically because this blade was so good at equalizing with its round shape and putty, but it still doesn't matter. Put this thing on 1S, and it just still won't burst. This is because 1S has a new mold for the circle plate that has a lot more clutch power, so this just feels like a normal Bey now. But we might be asking, why is this better than Helios and Fafmir? On Helios, the burst res isn't great, but you have this crazy tip. It's a lot heavier as well. And on Fafmir, you can't even burst it off the blade. Well, this is because this thing is insane for same spin as well. I don't know how, but it works great against other left spin Beyblades. The Ray tip, while slightly aggressive, has great stamina in the higher mode. And when you're going up against the right spin, just put it in the lower mode and then spin steel life after death your way to victory. It is just such a busted Beyblade. I've considered putting this Serge blade onto the limited parts list, so if I were to do a tournament or something, your opponent would get a point if you use this thing. It is just so broken. But not the most broken. Detonate Dragon 1A Spark has been the best stock combo Beyblade I have ever made since it came out. For the blade, it has incredible stamina, it has a really good shape for attack, it's almost like Imperial Dragon with the shape. It also has a really solid weight to it, especially when paired up with the 1A chassis. This chassis features these super large blades, which align perfectly with these, and you can even do that if you want, I guess, I don't know. And it even comes with the Spark tip, which has a lot more weight to it because of this outer disc, and it actually has crazy life after death. You might think it would suck and it would scrape like defense, but because of this dish here, the life after death is ridiculous. How ridiculous? I've seen it beat Serge Anubis through that. It is just so crazy. It has crazy attack, it has decent defense and stamina that help support it. It can awaken, which doesn't do anything, but it's there. It is just such a crazy Beyblade. I've seen other people build this Bey or buy the parts for it and then build it themselves, and it is just an absolute monster. Definitely deserving of the number 1 spot on this list. But what if you guys want to get some of these Beys? I don't exactly have the budget or the mindset to run a shop, so where would I be able to get Beys like this? Well, in my Discord server, must be 13 or older to enter, there is a new channel that I added called the Cyber Beys Catalog. And in that, you can download the .io files, which are the Bricklink Studio files for these Beys, and you can buy them, and then you can do all the stupid stuff you want with them. So yeah, join the Discord, link in the So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I need my launchers. Wait. Comment, like, subscribe, stuff like that, and I'll see you in the next video. Do you want to be able to move